It's time for something great.
Seychelles.
UK.
It's the union of beats.
Beats that inspire.
Beats that unite.
Beats that make you thrive. Discovering paths through music.
This is more than a competition. Shared ambitions.
The Great Battle for the Crown.
Coming soon.
To be a battle of the crown, but it's not coming soon. It's already been done and it was fantastic. And with me inside the studio today, we have the British High Commissioner Ambassador, Mr. Jeffrey Cleggan. Good morning to you, Mr. Ambassador.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well.
Oh, you're very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you seem excited.
I'm happy to be back in SPC.
Yeah. All right. So, Jeff, we're gonna have a quick question. Yeah. So the time exactly 7:09 in the Seychelles. You're with me in the studio, right? If you weren't with me inside the studio, what would you be doing right now?
Can you guess? I would be sleeping at this point.
Sleeping?
Yeah.
After a pretty long day, yeah?
Yeah, I'm not an early riser.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was surprised this morning coming into the studio there was so much traffic.
Really? At this hour?
Yeah, there was quite a lot. There was just on the way to the studio there was quite a bit of traffic.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see so many people awake.
Yeah. And one quick question. Are you a breakfast person?
Not really.
Really?
No, just a coffee.
Just a quick coffee and that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I'll have one final question before we enter the real questions, yeah?
Okay.
If you were to have a coffee with any celebrity, who will it be?
Wow, that's such a good question. I don't know. The first name that sprung to mind was Paul McCartney.
Okay. Why?
I think he's, of the people who are alive today, who are legends, I think he's the greatest.
And that would be a great conversation.
And he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like, I think, he's not intimidating.
Yeah. And what question will you ask him?
Yeah, you're asking good questions this morning, Kurt. I think it will be just to tell me the story of his life, and that's a very wide and open question, but he's had such an amazing career. He's still producing music. Like, he's in his 80s now, and he just produced another album. So all the people he's met, all the experiences he's had.
So just imagine you and Paul McCartney having a coffee, and what track would be playing in the background?
Maybe Get Back.
Maybe Get Back.
Yeah.
Having a coffee and Paul McCartney telling you his life story.
Yeah.
That would be the dream for you.
Yeah, it's a good dream.
And would you wake up at 6:30 to have that coffee?
I'd wake up at 5.
There you go. So that will definitely spark you be a morning person, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, Jeff. So Battle of the Crown. So how was it in general before we get into specific questions?
It was really inspiring because, as a diplomat, your normal day-to-day activities don't tend to include making a TV show and engaging with so many young and talented people. So it was a real change for me, and yeah, I enjoyed it so much. I hope that the people out there as well in Seychelles enjoyed it as much as we did, because we had an amazing time with all the contestants, with my fellow judges and hosts, working closely with Andrea, my wife. So it was great.
So let's start off by asking a simple question. Where did that idea came from?
I think they say that success has many parents and that failure is an orphan, right? So there are lots of people who came up with different parts of Battle for the Crown. At a personal level, I remember going to see Tanya perform. I think it was her 10th anniversary performance. And I'd been to Say Reggae, and I'd seen Isham also perform, and I'd started to come up with some ideas around how we could promote British music in Seychelles, because I felt that maybe our knowledge or awareness of the British contribution to music was could be amplified a bit in Seychelles. And I also saw the amazing talent that was out there. And Andrea had also been thinking about doing a competition, maybe a battle of the bands. She works in the High Commission and she does public diplomacy and events. So we both had similar ideas, and we invited Tanya and Isham over to our house for dinner and asked them what they thought. I think in my mind it was originally just going to be a concert, and we would put on a concert and we would get some local artists to perform British music, which I think would have been nice, but it wouldn't have had the same impact as the Battle for the Crown. And Isham came up with the idea of putting it on TV, and then it just evolved.
All right. So, Jeff, like you just mentioned, you're a diplomat, of course, yeah? And it's quite rare to see a diplomat being well engaged in such a competition. So, what made you feel that, like, this is the project I want my hands in, like you were in it, really in it? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. If you look at the way that British diplomacy is today in the modern era, I would say it's not that unusual. I think we culturally, as Brits, tend to get out there, get our hands dirty, and get involved in stuff. And actually that's the most effective, in my view, form of diplomacy. But public diplomacy is a thing. Diplomacy is not just, of course it includes meeting with the heads of state and meeting with ministers and doing all the formal stuff. That's equally important. Maybe that's the meat and veg of your job. But engaging with the general public is just as important. It's just as important, because my job is to represent the UK in Seychelles. And I can't do that unless the public are behind us. There's no point in getting the agreement of the government if the public don't also want to see your country working with theirs. After all, this is a democracy. So I think it's a really important part of your job. And for me personally, it's great fun.
It's a good change as well.
It's great fun.
Just to be in the office. And like you said, you also had the chance to meet different people, work with different people as well. And just for you at home tuning in, asking what's happening. Yes, we have the British High Commissioner, Mr. Jeff Cleggan, with me in the studio talking about the Battle of the Crown. But not just that. If you stay with us for the interview, you will discover some more interesting things about Mr. Jeff Cleggan with me in the studio. And Jeff, sorry, Mr. Ambassador?
No, just call me Jeff.
Jeff,
it's
okay,
much better.
Mr. Ambassador. Oh, okay. We know that is not an easy task. So what are the challenges that you guys face when bringing Battle of the Crown to life? You had the idea, have the concept. What challenges you had to face?
Look, I think doing any project a huge amount of that is just logistics. It's just organizing a whole bunch of different people, negotiating with different partners, getting sponsorship, financing. We're working with SBC to put it on TV. It took a lot of time and effort, and for a while it felt like my only job. And the rest of the team, Andrea and Pia in the High Commission, were working even harder than I was. Tanya and Isham were doing things, getting the stage, getting the contestants, and then once the show started, once we got to episode 1, and we had 18 contestants at that point at the very first show, then it's about engaging with all of their aspirations, their questions. Can I sing this song? Can I do it differently? Just getting everyone there on time and being in the same place. It's a lot of work.
So it's just like sinking everything in. That was one of the biggest challenges because we all have. It's like a big puzzle, isn't it? It's like getting them together to make the perfect picture.
Yeah, you got to put every single piece in place.
Yeah.
Because if you can have everything right, but if there's no sound, it's not going to work. If there's no light, it's not going to work.
Exactly.
If there's no food for the cast,
logistics.
we're going to have a lot of angry people.
Especially the Shishiwa, they're quite serious when it comes to the stomach.
I've noticed.
Yeah, and we know that everything comes with a lesson. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from the Battle of the Crown, yourself and your team?
I think that that you can achieve amazing impact, especially in Seychelles. Seychelles. What surprised me was just the level of public engagement that we had with the show. I was at the 50th anniversary celebrations, and I went to the expo, and just people who I'd never met before coming up to me and saying, thank you for doing this. You're giving opportunities to young people. So the impact that you can have just by taking a bit of initiative, doing something that maybe feels a bit new and exciting, that's a lesson that I'll take and something that we hope to continue with.
Okay. And one more question, as someone who served as a judge, what was that experience like? Was it more difficult being a diplomat or a judge?
I think it's actually harder being a judge. It was really, it was very difficult because the contestants were amazing. The level of talent was so high. So we had to make really difficult decisions continuously, right through from episode 1 through to the final. Each time we had to make some really tough choices. And I think also there is a form of diplomacy in how you give your feedback to the contestants. So as a judge, you're constantly having to give comments. I remember in the first episode, I gave some comments, and people said to me, "Oh, but that was very harsh." And I said, "No, I don't think it was harsh. I was being very kind and very nice." And they said, "No, you were very harsh." So that's there's a form of diplomacy in being a judge as well, in how you get your message across without hurting the other person's feelings.
Like you just mentioned, you were being honest, giving your opinion as a judge as well. Besides looking at the vocal, the voice, what other traits you were looking for in the participants? We know the winner, but for you as an individual judge, and yes, there are criteria and everything about the voice, but what are the traits that kind of that hits the mark? Okay,
for me, there's lots of things, and in many ways, it's quite a holistic experience. I was, of the 3 judges, I was the less technical. I'm not a musician, so
really?
I'm not a musician by any means. I'm a fan. I love music. I listen to a lot of music, so I know what I like. But it's just one opinion. And Tanya had her opinion and Isham had his. What I was looking for, which I think not everyone understood, was the choice of the song, and how did they put their mark on a cover? Okay. Because
make it your own.
Make it your own, or do something different with it, because there's no point in just giving me a version that I've heard before. So if you're going to sing a Beatles song, or if you're going to sing Adele, I've heard those before. I've heard great versions of those before by the original artists. So how are you going to take what's already great and turn it into something new? And I love listening to covers by other artists. I always think that there's a kind of, when you listen to a cover of a song, there's 2 things going on in your head. You're hearing the original at the same time as you're hearing their version. And if they both sound the same, there's nothing that exciting about that. When you hear, look, this is a very obscure reference, but Fiona Apple's an American singer. She sung a version of "Across the Universe" by which is a John Lennon song, and it sounds so similar but different. And when you listen to it, it's beautiful, and that's what I was looking for. I remember Bria in the first episode sang Yellow, and it was so different from the Coldplay version of Yellow, but it was really beautiful, and I loved that rendition.
So you mentioned earlier that people came up to you and saying thank you for bringing the Battle of the Crown to Seychelles, and 18 participants taking part in the Battle of the Crown, and a lot of people were also asking, yes, they enjoyed the song, the vocals was perfect, but why only British songs?
Oh, well, because we're the British High Commission. That was our job. I mean, you could, of course, there's perfectly valid to do a competition that had less stringent criteria, but from our perspective, that was the objective. It was about promoting British music, so it had to be British songs. And to be honest, that's not a huge limitation because there's so much. There's such a big back catalogue of diverse music from different decades, different artists, female artists, male artists, groups. I think they had enough material to work from.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Why only British songs? Because it's the British High Commission. So if you want to participate with us, ask questions, Mr. Ambassador, with us in the studio today. The number to text is 288-8989. Please WhatsApp or text only. Do not send audio because I cannot listen to it. Please text only. And my question to you, Mr. Ambassador, 1 minute. Okay, there we go. So beyond finding a winner, what impact were you hoping Battle of the Crown would have on young musicians and wider creative industry in the Seychelles?
Okay, so I think there's lots of objectives here. One was to promote Seychelles as a destination for music, and what we're seeing already, this is a long-term objective. We had this really impactful show. We found a winner, but every single artist that participated on the show was excellent. So we know that there's huge talent out there, and I think by bringing Josh Daniel, who came for the final, who's he runs his own music label, he's been an artist himself, exposing him to all of that talent was one seed that we planted. Bringing Abdel and Tanya and Isham to perform in London at South by Southwest was another set of seeds that we planted, because their impact through their performances in South by Southwest, through the connections that they made and the people that they got to know, will help to market Seychelles. Not just market Abdel, who was the winner, and I'm sure we'll talk about him in a second, but also Tanya, Isham, and the whole sound of Seychelles. What I really hope is that people around the world, especially in the UK, and the UK has a very big music industry, get to know about Seychelles through the Battle for the Crown. And you know, my ultimate dream is that somebody from Seychelles becomes a global star. That would be great. You know, that kind of partnership between the UK and Seychelles to launch the career of somebody who really puts Seychelles on the map would be of huge benefit, and I think a real inspiration. And then for me, the other point was just for all of these contestants to have that experience of performing for a TV studio, becoming locally famous, being recognized in the street, doing a live performance in the final. I think they learned a lot, and they also got exposed to new musical influences. So there were many objectives, and some things that happened that we hadn't even set out to achieve, but which we achieved anyway.
So you briefly touched upon it, saying like hopefully that it will continue. So we expect season 2 from Battle of the Crown, and what's the plan for Battle of the Crown?
We're definitely going to do a second season. We took a bit of a break. We went to London in June, immediately after the finale. We've had a bit of time off over the summer just to evaluate what has been the impact and what are our plans for a second season. I think we're still in that process of deciding, because we don't necessarily just want to do the exact same thing again. Even though it was, I hope many people agree, it was a good show, and it created a lot of interest. But we have to now decide what will be the second phase, and I'm not trying to hold anything back from you. I don't know yet.
Fair enough. And also, we have a question here saying, does the British High Commission plans to support other art forms such as dance, theatre, comedy, and spoken words? Yeah, so I think it means poetry.
Yeah. So in an ideal world, I would do everything that people wanted us to do, but we have to be a little bit realistic about how much time we have and how many people we have to be able to promote all of these things. So I think I would never say no or never. I'll never say never. We would love to do more in other aspects of culture. I don't have an immediate project other than doing season 2 for the Battle for the Crown, which I think when you've done something that's been successful, there's no harm in doing it again, because it builds on the first one. So we're going to focus our efforts on that for now. But there's always opportunities, and if people have concrete ideas about something that we can support, I would love to hear from them.
And also, we're not just going to say, oh, the British Commission did that, they must do this for us. Like, what other businesses can help as well? So maybe we can do a shout out to other businesses. Like, take an example from the British Commission. They took that way forward to help the arts industry. Other businesses can do that as well.
Yeah, and look, there are multiple actors in this space, including government, and we worked quite closely with the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, with the Ministry of Youth and Sport, to support the Battle for the Crown. The Minister for Tourism and Culture came with us to London to participate and support the artists at South by Southwest. So, it's not the High Commission's job to duplicate what other actors in the country, more important actors than us, are doing. What we want to do is find a niche where we can add something new. So I don't want to be involved in everything. I don't think that wouldn't be healthy for us. But if we can find something where we can really make a catalytic impact, and I think the other thing as an embassy or a high commission is to create something that will have a life after you've stopped your support. There's no point in doing a project that's a one-off.
And that's reliant on you guys.
And that becomes dependent on your support, because sometimes your funding gets changed, or the priorities change, and you can't keep it going. So you've got to create something that can then become self-sustaining. And in those cases, you achieve the highest impact.
So for you tuning in today, we have the British High Commissioner Ambassador Geoffrey Cleggan with me, with the studio, having a chat about the Battle of the Crown that was on your TV screens from April till May, earlier this year, of course. And we have one last question before we take a commercial break. And if you have any text numbers, we have to text to 88 89 89. So basically, Mr. Jeff, one question before we move into other topics. So you had plenty of participants, a lot of participants, really talented, and sadly it's a competition. We have to give one winner. What advice would you be giving to those that did not win?
I think that you can win or achieve success without necessarily coming in first. You know, I think there's maybe a little bit too much emphasis on the first prize. You know, coming second or third or fourth, or just making it to the final, or even doing a great performance that everybody remembers and not getting to the final is a form of success. And it's then what you make of it. I don't remember coming first in many things in my life, but I'm still very happy and I still have achieved most of my goals.
Yeah.
So I think that the experience and the exposure that every single participant got gives them a platform to then move to the next stage of what they want to do with music. And you know, a competition is quite an artificial thing. When I listen to a band that I like, I don't care whether they came first, second, third, or fourth in their high school music contest. I'm listening to their music now, and music is not competitive. It's not like sport. You can support a band because you like their music, or you can listen to an artist because you like their music. So the placing really matters very little. What matters is building an audience and having a fan base. And once you've got an audience and a fan base and a platform, and we all know that they've got talent, they can be as successful as they want to be.
So basically, be successful as you want to be. Funny when you were mentioning like it's a platform and it doesn't really matter if you come first or second. Of course, it matters for the winner.
Sure.
Yeah, but when you think about it, it brought me back memories to Tanya herself.
Yeah.
She participated in the Cecil Got Talent way back, and I was a backstage manager back then.
Yeah.
So I remember that, and she was among the top 5. She did not win.
Yeah.
Look at her now. So it's a perfect example.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know whether Paul McCartney ever won a music competition. Probably he didn't, but he became the greatest star. You know, one of the greatest legends of all time. So in the long run, it doesn't really matter. Life is not a competition. I always think about this. Like we grew up it's our educational systems. Our educational systems and our culture create the idea that things are competitive.
Yeah.
You need to be top of your class, first, second, third. At the end of our lives, there is no prize. There is no. What you need to do as an individual, I think, is just to make sure that you've lived things to the maximum, that you've taken the opportunities that have come your way, you've been kind to people, that you've developed important relationships. It's not about winning. There's something different.
Yeah, and they are a winner just by stepping on that stage. Yeah. They are a winner. So Jeff, a lot of people would think like, oh, is that the only thing that the British High Commission does? No, they do a lot of activities as well. So just an example, last May, 2 teachers from the UK came down and did a workshop with the local teachers here. And one of the teachers that were brought down was Helen Stott.
Yes.
Yeah, she won
she won a prize.
Yeah, yeah, she won a prize in 2022 Pearson National Teacher Award for Best Primary School Teacher. And to be honest, Jeff, there's a lot of activities. You've done the establishing Oxford and UNICEF partnership, awarding 7 scholarships as well for the first cohort of data decision makers last year in June. So which projects are you most proud of, you could say? There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. No, I think it's almost difficult to remember all the things that I've been in Seychelles for close to 3 years, and a lot of the work that I've done has built on my predecessors and other British High Commissioners that have been here. I think we're very focused on some of the fundamental things that we do for in partnership with the country around supporting young people through education, through the scholarships that you mentioned, the University of Oxford. Actually, the University of Oxford's back in Seychelles this week.
Okay.
Also working on their partnership with UNICEF, doing another round of courses. I think there's another 15 participants that are doing that short course with the University of Oxford this week. I think that's a huge platform. University of Oxford is was like number 1 or number 2 in the world.
Is it the oldest as well?
Yeah, it's one of the. No, I think St Andrews might be older.
Okay.
Which is a Scottish university. But it's a great institution, and for the University of Seychelles to be working with Oxford can only elevate education in this country. So I think that's fantastic. All of the work that we've been doing for many, many years around maritime security and keeping Seychelles and the Indian Ocean safe from piracy, from drug trafficking, from terrorism. They're really important work that the Royal Navy does with the RCOC in Seychelles and with the Seychelles Defence Forces. That doesn't always get noticed. What happens out in sea is it's far away and you don't always know that it's happening. But I think that's really important work. And also the work that we've done on policing, on anti-corruption. These are big challenges that all countries face, and the UK has, I think, something to offer and to share our knowledge and our experience of working on those.
So, what opportunities do you see young Seychellois to engage with UK through arts, entrepreneurship, or environmental programs?
I think first of all, I would say follow our social media, UK and Seychelles, on Facebook and Instagram, because there are always things that are coming up. The Chevening scholarship, I think the applications are about to open for that. That's a master's program to study in the UK, completely all expenses paid, and it's actually the president of Seychelles, Patrick Emeny, was a Chevening scholar. He went to the University of Leeds, and many other illustrious Seychellois have participated on that. And that, I think, is a great opportunity to get a master's degree at one of the best universities in the world and then come back to Seychelles and contribute and hopefully continue to build partnerships with people that they met during that year in the UK.
Right. It's very important to create that bond, that partnership. And when you look back at your time in the Seychelles as well, you're approaching your tenure, right? Next year.
Yeah, I will. I unfortunately, we all have to leave. That's the challenge of being a diplomat, is that you're.
We'll have to talk about that.
Yeah. I think I'm at my maximum, but we probably around the end of 2027.
Okay, so just looking back at your time in the Seychelles, how would you describe the relationship between the United Kingdom and Seychelles today?
I would say that it's flourishing. There's always more that we could be doing together. UK is one of the largest economies in the world. There are many more things that I would like to see partnering. I'd like to see more British businesses in Seychelles. I'd like to promote more trade. I'd like to see. I'm not promising anything, but I'd love to see a direct flight from London or another British city into Seychelles. Every business has a place in the market, but there are really good opportunities. We used to have British Airways flying to Seychelles, and I think that at that time tourists from the UK were made up a larger percentage of the market than they do today. So we need to try and encourage more of my fellow countrymen to get to know this beautiful country.
Especially around December. It's
Yeah.
a good time to come down to Seychelles.
Yeah, I think
Escape
every
the
month
winter.
is a good month in Seychelles.
Yeah, every month.
Yeah.
Yeah. But right now there's a heat wave happening right now in Europe, right?
Yeah, it's very hot.
It's very hot. And to be honest, when you mentioned businesses, I think it was earlier this year or late last year, I saw Sainsbury.
Yes.
Yeah, Sainsbury.
STC.
Yeah, so basically, how can we open more markets to the Seychelles for UK businesses to come into the Seychelles? Because there's very few
Yeah,
British
well,
brands in the Seychelles.
watch this space, because I think there's another British brand that's about to enter Seychelles. I'm just teasing this, but
Iceland?
I can't tell you. I can't tell you who. Iceland is already here.
Really?
Yeah, you can get Iceland in ISPC. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So basically, for you who doesn't know Iceland, it's the students' like shopping place, you could say. Yeah, everything's quite affordable and very good. It's for the price you pay, it's worth it, I could say. And I'm looking forward for Iceland. I will check it out. Actually.
Yeah, you can get Iceland products in ISPC at the moment, but there are other British brands that are looking to enter Seychelles market, and I think that there's a partnership that we can announce quite soon, which will be exciting. And for people who are familiar with British supermarkets and products, they're going to be very happy. But I think there's even more. You know, it's not just about retail; it's also about how can we be involved in big infrastructure projects. We have financing available to support infrastructure, over £200 million of British government export financing available to the government of Seychelles to use to do big infrastructure projects. We're in conversations with the government about how we can do that, and we bring, I think, the expertise and reliability. We deliver on time. We deliver, good quality, value for money projects. We're unlikely to be the cheapest option. Globally, the things are very competitive, but we'll be we'll be competitive, and we'll deliver value for money. So I would like to see us do more in Seychelles, whether that's around some of the bigger infrastructure projects that are happening, or even some of the mid-sized. Every market is important to us.
So, Mr. Ambassador, it was quite funny because I did have a question, but I skipped that question about what are future projects that you are looking forward to. But I didn't want to really go into that because I didn't want to spoil the surprise for everyone. But now you're just letting everything out of the bag, because I have a question right now.
Right.
Someone just messaged me saying good morning, Mr. Ambassador. In regards to Iceland, are you saying Iceland is in ISPC, or the products from Iceland?
The products.
Yeah, because
you can buy their products.
Yeah, buy their products. Yeah. So your question has been answered right there. So buying the products from Iceland, not Iceland itself, because man, I would be there every day, all day. All right, Jeff. So basically, some personal reflection now. So you've been in Seychelles for several years. What has been your favorite part living in the Seychelles?
It's very hard to say. It's a bit like asking you to pick your favorite child. There are too many things that I enjoy. I mean, the Great Battle for the Crown was probably in terms of the work and the experience, that was for me so far the highlight. But in terms of just living here, first of all, I think it's people. People make a place. And the friendships that you develop, and the support that you get from your friends and colleagues. The local team in the High Commission are fantastic, and they've supported our work hugely. So it's about that, but you can't beat being out on a boat fishing in La Digue or Pralin, or going to some of the beautiful beaches. That's also it's a great benefit.
So you're an ambassador to the UK. Maybe you can be an ambassador for the Seychelles as well, vice versa, by simply saying to a visitor, which beach would you recommend them to go on?
I like Porloné.
Mm?
Yeah.
So highly recommended for the visitors.
Yeah, yeah.
So there you go. You heard it from the ambassador themselves. So if you're visiting the Seychelles, you must go to Port Launay. So, Mr. Ambassador, a few last questions because our time is actually running out. Outside your diplomatic duties, what hobbies or activities have helped you relax and enjoy your time in the Seychelles?
I love snorkeling. So try to go to the beach at least once a week and go snorkeling. That's been, it's very therapeutic. I think just swimming and being out in the ocean and looking at the marine life is, it's a moment where, one of the nice things about being in the water is you can't take your phone with you. I mean, these days there are these waterproof phones, but there's no point. You're out there alone with your thoughts, and that's a very beautiful moment to relax.
Yeah. So relax is one thing, and Seychelles, endless possibilities to go snorkeling, and you found that out the easy way.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite dish, Creole dish?
I would say octopus curry.
Mine as well.
Yeah.
I could eat it all day with a little bit of chutney or without.
Yeah. No, I like a little bit of chutney.
Spicy or non-spicy?
Very spicy.
Oh yeah. Okay. You're definitely coming Shishawa now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't worry, Jeff. We'll have a talk with the Foreign Affairs of Diaspora about your stay, okay? Extension stay. So one final question, very serious question, okay? Who will win the World Cup?
I think after England's heroic failure, I think it's probably going to be Spain.
Yeah, I say Spain as well. Why do you think Spain will win? Then I'll give you my opinion.
No, I think that Spain proved against France, they were just, it was almost a surprise how good they were, because they had been, they'd been a little bit of a surprise package up until the semi-final. They weren't as fancied as probably France.
Favorites,
they play as a team. I think the reason why I'm probably going to be wrong. Usually am, but I think they're just more of a complete package. I think they have less weaknesses.
They were quite of a surprise because they were a bit slow to start off, and they're actually picking up steam right now. And I will go there. You might not like it, but what happened to Scotland? You guys had a great start, you started with the win. I was like, okay, they just did 2 draws or 1 more victory, and that's it. What happened?
No, we only needed 1 draw. 1 draw would have been enough.
Yeah, but it was against Brazil.
I tell you what happened to Scotland. First of all, we had the toughest group. We were
Brazil, Morocco, Haiti,
I mean, Haiti was not as strong, but Morocco and Brazil were in the top 6, both of them. And so if you look at any of the second seeds, we were very unlucky. We got the strongest second seeds, and unfortunately, we just didn't fulfill our potential. We have a good team. Scotland, you've got players like Scott McTominay, who was the best player in Serie A last year, and somehow they didn't. I think they didn't peak. One of the challenges I think in any World Cup is if you play too much domestic football. So if you're playing in a tough league, your players arrive at the World Cup tired and they're not quite at their peak. And so how do you balance that? How do you make sure that your players are arriving in a big competition fresh from injury and they're going to be able to play? Scotland's never qualified. Scotland never qualifies past the first round.
But they did well, and they actually got a victory at this time. And Jeff, me and you can have a conversation about the World Cup for ages, and we're going to continue our conversation after we get off air.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to go after we get off air. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Ambassador Jeff Clegans with me inside the studio talking about the Battle of the Crown, also some works that the embassy is doing in the Seychelles, and also a bit about himself. We discovered that he loves, of course, octopus curry. Who doesn't? Yeah, with a bit of chutney, of course. And of course, we had his opinion about Spain. Yes, I heard that, Argentina fans. It's going to be Spain who's going to win this World Cup. And with that said, Mr. Ambassador, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
been a pleasure.
it was a pleasure having you. And I'm sorry, can switch to Creole now. Okay, même si Madame Mzela, il a eu la fin de Topik Konversasyon, si Monsieur Ambassadeur Jeff Liggins avec moi. Nous la prochaine fois, passez bon week-end. Pas oublier de nous demain pour bonjour, c'est le week-end. Merci.